Section 4.6 is medians of a triangle. So what is the median of a triangle? It's a segment that connects a vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So there are three vertices on this triangle, A, B, and C, and the midpoint is the middle or the halfway point. So for example, we have a median from the vertex B all the way to the midpoint M on the opposite side. So you can see segment AM and segment MC are congruent because M is the midpoint, so it cuts this segment AC in half. Now there are three different medians on a triangle. This is just one because we have vertex A and vertex C as well. So there's also a median from vertex A to the midpoint on the opposite side. And then I'll mark these two halves as congruent, but I'm going to use 2 tick marks instead of 1 because they don't necessarily have to be the same length as AM and MC. And then we also have a median from vertex C all the way to the midpoint on the opposite side. And I'm going to mark those as congruent, but I'm going to use 3 tick marks because they don't have to be the same length as these segments. So if BD is a median of this triangle, find the length of segment AD. Well, since D is the midpoint, we know that this half is congruent to this half. So if DC is 4, then the length of AD is also 4. So same thing here. D is the midpoint because segment BD is a median, therefore this half, DC, is congruent to this half, AD, so since DC is 3, the length of AD is also 3. This is just showing you that there are 3 medians of a triangle. These 2 congruent segments don't have to be the same length as these 2 congruent segments or these 2 congruent segments. They can all be different lengths. They could be the same if it was an equilateral triangle, but if it's scaling, they're all going to be different. So since there are 3 medians on a triangle, the point where those 3 medians meet is called the centroid. So the 3 medians of a triangle intersect at one point called the centroid. So there's one median, there's another median, and there's the third median, and they all intersect here at point P, which we call the centroid. I'm going to come back, well actually here. So if point P is the centroid of triangle ABC, then, so what we're going to do is we're going to split one of the medians up into thirds. So how do we do that? We're going to start, I'm going to focus on median CE. So we're going to first start at the midpoint. From the midpoint to the centroid is 1/3. And then from the centroid to the vertex C is 2/3. So I'm going to split it in half. Okay, so you can see here's 1/2 and here's the other half. So now I have 3 equal thirds on the centroid. Here's 1/3, here's the 2nd third, and here's the 3rd third. And that's how we're going to answer these questions. Sometimes you'll be given 1 of the thirds, sometimes you'll be given 2 of the thirds, sometimes you'll be given the whole length. And they're going to ask for different parts of the median. So here, E is the centroid of triangle ABC, and DA is 27. So D to A is the whole median, and the whole thing's 27. So from the midpoint D to the centroid E is 1/3, and then from the centroid E to the vertex A is 2/3, so we're going to split it in half. So now I have 3 equal thirds here. Well, how big is each third? If the whole thing's 27, we're going to divide 27 by 3, and that means that each third is 9 units long. So this third is 9, this third is 9, and this third is 9. And now let's figure out, what are they asking me? Find EA. So from E to A, that's 2/3. So that's 9 plus 9, which means that EA is 18 units long. And then they want us to find the length of DE. So from D to E is 1/3, so that's just 9 units long. P is the centroid of triangle QRS, and RP is 10. So now they gave me R to P, which is not the full length of the median. So RP is on the median RT. So let's look at RT, and let's split it up into thirds. So how do we start? We start at the midpoint. From the midpoint to the centroid is 1/3. And from the centroid to the vertex is 2/3, which means I'm going to cut that in half. So if this portion from R to P is 10 units long, that means that each half here is 5. So 5 and 5 there would give you that total 10. Now if each third is 5, that means that this third is also 5. So now it wants me to find the length of segment RT. So here's R, here's T. So that's the whole median. That's 5 plus 5 plus 5. So that means the length of RT is 15 units long. JK is 4. So from J to K is 4 units long. Okay, so that is looking at median JG. So from the midpoint to the centroid is 1/3, and then from the centroid to the vertex G is 2/3, which means I'm going to split it in half. So if this 1/3 is 4, then this third is also 4, and this third is also 4. So now let's answer, how long is JG? So that's the whole median, which is 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 16. Oops. Whoops, my smartboard's off. All right, there we go. So JG is 16. All right, how about KG? So from K to G, there's 2/3 here. So there's 4 plus 4 is 8. So the length of KG is 8. So BD is 24. So it's BD. So that's the length of the entire median. So that means we can take that and divide it by the 3 equal parts, and that means that each equal part is 8 units long. So how do we split it up? We start at the median. The median to the centroid is 1/3, and the centroid to the vertex B is 2/3, so we split that in half. And we said that each third is 8 units long. So BE is 8 plus 8, which is 16. And ED is just this 1/3, so that's just 8. I'm going to do a couple more examples. Okay, so QN is 9. So QN is the length of the entire median here, which means I can split it up into thirds. So 9 divided by 3 means that each third is 3 units long. So again, start at the midpoint. Midpoint to centroid is 1/3. Centroid to the vertex N is 2/3. So we're going to split that in half, which we just found that each third is 3 units long. And now Pn, P to n is 2/3, so that's 3 plus 3 is 6. And QP is 1/3 here, and that's just 3. Do one more example. Okay, so here DE is 5. So we're looking at the median CE. So from the midpoint E to the centroid D is 1/3, and from the centroid D to the vertex C is 2/3. So we're going to split that in half. So if that 1/3 from D to E is 5, then each of these thirds is also 5. So the length from C to D is 5 plus 5, which is 10. And the length from C to E is the length of the whole median, C to E. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15.